center field. Going back is Gonzalez. It is gone! Two-run home run by Schwarber. Stays put, and there's a high fly ball. Deep right field. Harper watches it fly.
And we are back for another episode of the Double Switch podcast. April is in the books. Phillies, I checked this morning, have the best record in baseball, which not something I was expecting. I was hoping that we get off to a better start, but best record it's quite the accomplishment considering the starts we've kind of gotten off to in the past couple of years. We had the pitcher of the month, Ranger Suarez.
Let's go Ranger.
Didn't see that coming. That wasn't expected. If you told me we would have had pitcher of the month, I would have believed you, but I would have thought it would have been Wheels or somebody.
Yeah.
And then we had somebody in the running for hitter of the month. He didn't end up winning, but he's leading MLB in average today, which is just incredible. 364.
Bonkers.
Alec Bohm. If you would have told me that we had a hitter in the running for player of the month in April, I would have believed you. I would have said it would have been Bryce Harper or Trea Turner, but Alec Bohm, things are going well. Things are going well, but baseball giveth and baseball taketh away. Trea Turner is going to be on the bench for a little bit. Ended up getting hurt a couple nights ago, and something we're going to have to break down and kind of figure out how we're going to navigate that. How are you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing great, man. It's been a great month of watching the Phillies. Like you said, didn't really expect like this electric of a start, but yeah, we'll take it. And it didn't happen in the fashion I thought it would. It's been guys like the Bohm and the Rangers that are kind of putting the team on their back and being the leaders right now, which is awesome to see because I don't think we're playing our best baseball yet, and we have the best record in baseball.
Yeah, it's funny. We have the best record in baseball, and I don't think Bryce Harper's had a good start to the season. He had a couple of good games. Nick Castellanos, we aren't really going to talk about him that much, but he's done nothing. He's been zero. Bryson Stott, cold start. You just look up and down the lineup, and it's guys who you expect to be better going forward. And if you're thinking they're going to get better, then you think the team's going to get better. And, I mean, it's crazy saying that at this point. A good place to start for this week, I think, would probably be Trea Turner, because that's going to be the biggest piece of the most adversity we're going to face so far in the season. Ended up hurting his hamstring, which is not something you want to see out of a guy who relies on his speed. Players hurt their hamstrings all the time, but when speed's such a big part of your game as it is for Trea Turner, that's a problem. Because for him to get back to full strength, Trea Turner stealing bases, this is quite the recovery process coming back from that. He ended up doing it when he scored the run on Friday night, I want to say.
Yep.
6-week timetable. It's a long time. It's a really long time. But fortunately, we do have some options. There's a couple guys on the team that can play shortstop, most notably Bryson Stott and Edmundo Sosa. So I'll just throw it to you first, Johnny. How do you think we're going to handle this?
Yeah, no, I don't think that the go-to option is to really bring Stott to shortstop. I think, he hasn't played there and didn't play all last year. It was 2022 last time he played it. So I think, Sosa, I think he'll get the first crack at it. I think they want to get him more at-bats as well. And I think it kind of gives Witt a little time at second base. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Do you have an ideal plan for this?
Yeah, so I think Bryson Stott can handle shortstop. I think we're on agreement there. He's not as good there, but he can definitely play there and hold his own. I think the big concern now is interrupting his flow. He's so good at second base at this point. Borderline Gold Glover, and you don't really want to move a Gold Glover off their position. It's just generally not a very good idea. But the contrary to that point is Whit Merrifield's closer to an everyday player than Edmundo Sosa is. I don't think, if we were to throw Witt out there for 6 weeks, it's not going to be Trea Turner level production, but I think it'll be MLB regular player production. Versus Edmundo Sosa, he tends to get a little exposed with increased plate appearances. It's why he is a bench piece. He doesn't have the refined approach to handle everyday at bats. But I think they're going to give him a chance first because, you want Bryson Stott to get going predominantly. He's kind of starting to swing a better bat now and, making him learn a new position. We've seen it with players before.
Yeah.
Alec Bohm struggled with the first to third change. It's tough just worrying about that part of the game in addition to your hitting. So I think Sosa gets the first nod. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if he's going to end up playing well over the next six weeks. But, I mean, up and down this lineup, if you have enough guys playing well, it might not even matter. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, no, I definitely see what you're saying, though. That's my first concern when everyone starts to talk Stott. He's already not killing the ball right now. We've all seen that. We definitely want him to get in his offensive rhythm, and him spending a lot of his practice and preparation time at shortstop playing defense isn't ideal, especially when you have a guy like Sosa who, in my opinion, I don't think having Witt at second base is much of an upgrade over just having Sosa at shortstop. I think over a 6-week time period, I think the results will be pretty damn similar as far as production. I don't think either of them is going to be like a hit 350 and have like 10 home runs over this span. I think both of them, they can do enough. I mean, they don't need to be the best player on this team. We've seen that. We have enough guys that can kind of make up for this. I mean, Harper's not even hot. Let Bryce Harper go on a little hot streak these next 6 weeks, then he'll be cruising,
Yeah, definitely. Another thing worth noting is apparently Whit Merrifield can play shortstop, according to himself. It's been a while. He hasn't played since college, but if you can play second, third, center, right, left, shortstop's not that much harder,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely.
It's not. He's not moving to catcher. Like it's another infield position. He can play the other three.
Yeah, you don't usually see a guy his size at shortstop. Typically,
yeah.
There's like a very like specific like type of shortstop you kind of want. But I don't know. I mean, we can give it a try, right?
Hey, I mean, they're going to have to get creative. I know another possibility here is Bryson Stott relearning shortstop, and then, him just playing second base. And if you get late in the game and you have a tough righty come in, whether it be Edwin Diaz or Iglesias or somebody, you pinch hit for him with a lefty, and that lefty can be Clemens. Who's the other lefty on this bench? Who else is on? There's another lefty, right?
No, Stubbs.
Clemens. Then, Clemens can play second, and Bryson Stott can move over to short. So I do think we will see Bryson Stott at short at some point. I don't think he will be starting games at short, and I don't think he's going to be the player who sees the most time at short. But it's nice that he can play both. A lot of teams don't have that flexibility, and it's nice that we have some pieces. I mean, besides the guys on the major league roster, there's not much. So we're getting to the point where if there's another injury, then it starts to become kind of a problem. But I think Sosa can kind of hold down the fort for now. And, just let's get some of these other bats going, and it probably won't even matter.
Yeah, no. And if, like, Sosa doesn't work out, Witt struggles, give Cody Clemens some time at second base, give Weston Wilson some time at shortstop. I mean, there's young guys that we can actually, while we're playing so well, we can kind of see what they have and give them a little bit of time at positions they typically wouldn't be able to.
Are you suggesting we should call up AAA shortstop?
Maybe.
Do you know who the AAA shortstop is?
Isn't it Wilson, or is he playing third?
It is Scotty Jetpacks.
He's playing. I thought. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, full time shortstop. He's been playing well. I mean, Wilson hasn't been playing well at all, but Scotty's playing well.
Well, that's a cryptic conversation always in this community.
That would be a plot twist and a half. If Scotty comes up and is our everyday shortstop, and oh my goodness, what a world!
I mean,
it's 2024 and we're still talking about Scotty Kingery, so that's worth something. He has somehow managed to hang around and still get his name brought up every couple of months. It's wild.
Yeah, there was a serious point in time. It's actually funny that we're talking about this because there was a point in time where I thought like our infield of the future was going to be Bryson Stott at shortstop and Kingery at second base. And the fact that there's a possibility that we have Stott at second base and Kingery at shortstop in 2024 is absolutely insane. Actually, I'm here for it.
Yeah, we're just agents of chaos here.
Yes,
but
dig up my jetpack shirt somewhere in my closet.
There are some guys, worst comes to worst, that can play shortstop in the organization.
Yeah.
We do have some shortstops in the organization. So that'll be fun. Here's wishing a speedy recovery for Trea because he was playing super well. Doing what Trea Turner does. And it's going to be a tough bat to kind of replace. And another important part of missing Trea is the fact that he was kind of the catalyst at the top of the lineup. Schwarber's obviously the leadoff hitter, and he has his way about going, the leadoff spot. But Trea Turner was getting on base at a very high clip, and he was getting on base for Alec Bohm, Bryce Harper, Brandon Marsh, JT. And it's going to be tough to replace that aspect of his game. How do you think we do that?
I think that's a very interesting question.
That might be the harder question, honestly.
I agree. I think it is the roster or the lineup construction that's much more difficult now because we had a good thing going. Like you said, I mean, like Schwarber's locked into that spot and he's good at it, but there's times where we have that leadoff strikeout and then Turner comes up, knocks a single, and he's like a backup leadoff guy if Schwarber doesn't get it done. And it's also nice having him when Schwarber would walk and then you get a single from Turner and you got 2 on with Harper up. That's hard. It's going to be really hard to replace. And I don't think we have a righty in our lineup that really fits that same mold because you can look at JT. JT doesn't have that on-base presence that Turner does. He strikes out a lot more. And you can go that Castellanos route, but that's self-explanatory. That sounds like an absolute disaster class. I don't really have the answer to this. I think it'll be JT because I think that's who Topper trusts the most. And I don't think they want to move Bohm because Bohm is he's locked in.
Come on, this is why you make the big bucks. Come on, give the people a name. Who should be in the 2 spot?
I think you should move up Bohm.
You think you should move up Bohm?
Yeah, I think he's a good enough hitter. I don't think it matters where you put him in the lineup. I know everyone likes him in the cleanup spot because of his RBI abilities, but the type of contact bat he has, just slide him up to 2.
Yeah, there's only 2 names it could be, in my opinion, at this point. It's got to be a righty. We have 4 righties in this lineup. Well, I guess 5 if Whit Merrifield finds his way into the lineup. It can't be Casty. No shot. I mean, Rojas has been playing well, but not likely. If Whit's in the lineup, he's actually kind of like not Trea Turner, obviously, but he's like 60% of Trea Turner, like a fast contact hitter. But then again, that's banking on Whit getting every day at bats, which isn't a given. It's JT or Bohm, and I mean they're probably looking at Alec Bohm's stats with runners in scoring position, and they're probably thinking, no way can we move that guy out of the cleanup spot. He leads the league in RBIs. The NL, I know, in RBIs. It'd be nice to have him get on base at that clip because he's been getting on base at a really high clip, but then you're kind of counting on somebody to do his job in the cleanup spot and driving those runs, which there's a lot of maybes there. So at this point, I just see JT moving up, being the 2-hitter, and Alec Bohm doing what he does in the cleanup spot.
Yeah. No, and I think it's worth consideration. I think we just answered our question. I think it's going to be JT or Muto. I think there is too much to lose by moving Alec Bohm with look at his average with runners in scoring position. It speaks for itself. You can't, JT wouldn't be able to do that same thing. So I think that is the answer. But when JT's out of the lineup, I like Whit or Rojas getting a shot there.
I like the speed at the top of the lineup.
Me too.
I love getting runners in motion, kind of getting everything moving.
Because then you got guys that hit the ball in the gap, like Harper and Bohm coming up next, and you want to get those
guys
guys
that can actually complete jobs with like their bat. They can do sac flies and hit behind runners and stuff. And it's the old person to be talking, but that's how you manufacture runs.
Yep.
And as much as I like Schwarber and his newfound speed, you do need someone else up there who can kind of get on base and bail Schwarber out when he's not doing super well.
1,000%.
And I think there may be situations where when we face a righty, they go 3 lefties at the top. I don't think Topper's super opposed to that. I think Bryson
who would that lefty be?
Bryson Stott probably if he starts hitting better, but not until he starts hitting better.
Yeah, no, that makes too much sense. But yeah, I think in the meantime, it's safe to say that's JT's spot. He has the speed and he has the trust of the team and the managers.
Yeah, for sure. Other than that, I mean, lineup solid right now. Alec Bohm was removed yesterday. I don't think it's anything serious. I know that he singled after he kind of had that weird swing, which bodes well. It's not like he had to be removed right away. Like he was still doing Alec Bohm things. And honestly, that game last night with the weather, it's just disaster for baseball players. You just hate seeing your players out in the cold, slipping, and you're just worried that somebody else is going to get, or you're just trying to get through the game. But they got through it intact, relatively. And that kind of brings us to the second point of this episode. Actually, there's 3 points. I want to bring up another player at the end. Oh, I don't know who your player is. I guess we'll talk about your player too.
I think we're currently on the same page.
Okay. Well, first up's a known fact at this point that Turnbull's moving to the bullpen. We saw one Taijuan Walker start. He did not look good. We saw another Turnbull start. He did look good. But they're not convinced for whatever reason. We will never know.
I think we know the reason, though. I mean, the reason is because he hasn't pitched a full season in how long?
A couple years.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason. For me, it gives me Matt Strahm vibes from last year. Just an electric start out of the rotation. A lot of us were calling for the same thing. Keep him in the rotation. But it is what it is, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, the only thing worth saying about that is I just hope Taijuan Walker can kind of figure it out because last Sunday, it wasn't as bad as the stat line looked. I saw some of it. He left, like his last pitch was a 3-run homer, and that brings the stat line from 6 1/3 innings, 3 earned runs to 6 earned runs, which is just a ginormous difference.
For sure.
He pitched better than his stat line, but it left a sour taste in my mouth, kind of ending the game on that. I think that we should probably shorten the leash a little bit, like shorten it up all the way, in my opinion. He just needs to earn that trust to grind through those moments. I think there's a path here where he's that nice back of the rotation pitcher. Him and Sanchez kind of round out the rotation. Sanchez hasn't been pitching super good, so it's going to be nice to get Turnbull down there, have somebody who can actually give you innings and kind of when the starter doesn't pitch well, pitches into the 3rd, 4th, can lengthen the game, pitch 3 or 4 innings, and I think Turnbull's going to be good at it. At the end of the day, I think his stuff's going to play down there, and it might work. It definitely might work moving him down there.
Yeah, especially seeing like the way like the rotation as a whole is pitching. You have like 1 through 3. I mean, Nola, that was a tough outing, but I think that 6 days of rest is kind of messing with our guys. But in general, we all trust the top 3 to give us around 5 to 7 innings every time out there, if not more on occasion for them. And I think that gives us the ability to have a short leash with Sanchez and Walker going forward because we have a pretty rested bullpen. Probably one of the most rested bullpens in baseball.
Yeah, just keep Turnbull on their schedule.
Right?
Just mimic Taijuan Walker's schedule and have Turnbull be doing the same thing, That way they're both ready on those days.
Yeah, no, it should play out like that where they have Turnbull available to pitch 2 to 3 innings for either Sanchez or Walker, the way they're pitching right now.
Yeah, real quick on Sanchez, how do you feel about his start to the season?
Underwhelming, but not everyone's going to have the hot start, in my opinion.
Yeah, so there's some things that he's doing this year that I noticed. I looked into this a little bit, and I don't think they're helping him. I may have mentioned this last episode. He hasn't looked super good, and Sanchez last year, that dude could put the baseball exactly where he wanted it.
Mhm.
I noticed that his velo's up this year. Did you see that? Have you looked into his underlying numbers?
Not by a whole. No, not. I haven't like looked into like his velocities and all, but I
About two
didn't see
miles
like
an
a major
hour.
difference. Oh wow, that is. I thought it was like maybe one, but that's significant.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 miles an hour, miles per hour, and you start to wonder whether he's losing control throwing harder. Because I mean, it's just basic. This is a correlation at this point. He's throwing harder and walking more people. I'm starting to think that maybe slowing it down a little bit and being that 92, 93 instead of he's been hitting 95, 90. You know,
Well,
he's
yeah. I mean, if you
so
remember, like when
is
he
it the
came up, that
control?
was when he came up. This was the same issue.
No, the control wasn't as good.
Yeah, because he was throwing hard, and then they had him slow it down a little bit, and that's when he found his success.
Yeah, who told him to throw harder? I don't understand. That's just
Yeah, maybe they thought that he figured out his mechanics and he could kind of get a little more velo because he had things figured out. But I think you're onto something there, and I think yeah, slow that down. I think maybe he's just rushing his delivery a little bit more, and yet he definitely has not looked his pinpoint. That's I think everyone kind of caught that, and that the changeup still looks good, but he needs to get the other stuff dialed in for the changeup to be effective.
yeah. It's I was wondering like what his year kind of looked like last year. You go on his Savant page. The walks, he was an elite pitcher when it came to control last year, and now he's less than 50 percentile. It's very blue, so he's definitely walking a lot of people. And then you start to wonder why it might just be a mechanical thing. But I saw the velos there, and I was like, you know, maybe you
Not,
start to as pitchers throw harder, they do lose feel. It's just
mhm.
it's the way baseball works. It's why you see a lot of high velocity pitchers not being able to control it. So that is something worth kind of just keeping an eye on.
Yeah, like Philippe Amont. I always go back to that.
Deep dive. I don't know if anybody's going to get that one.
I love that guy. That really thought he was going to be the answer as a closer in 2015, but he wasn't that guy. And turns out our bullpen wasn't going to be good for another 7 years. So,
Speaking of the bullpen, this
besides
is
the point.
the last player I have. And just give me the worryometer on this player because he hasn't been good in a long time. People are on Twitter starting to mention the last time he was good, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, that is the last time I saw that pitcher at his best. 2022 Sir Anthony Dominguez postseason
Yeah.
was amazing. Like he was a force. Jose Alvarado was good. Sir Anthony Dominguez was great that postseason.
Yep. He was the better
And
pitcher.
that's the last time I saw Sir Anthony Dominguez look like that. I was thinking about it. I was trying to remember back, and I'm like, it has been a while. Where's that version of Sir Anthony Dominguez? Where'd he go?
I genuinely believe I've pondered a while because, I mean, in the early days, I was big Sir Anthony guy. I mean, he was a lot of my bold predictions and stuff had a lot to do with Sir Anthony back in the day. But I think it's just it's like a yips type of confidence thing because he just looks like he doesn't trust himself throwing the baseball. You can tell he doesn't look in 2022 those playoffs. Like he was a badass. He looked confident. He was mocking the Braves after striking out the side. Like I don't see that same confidence from Sir Anthony, and I think that as a reliever, you have to have your own confidence. You have to be a self-starter. You have to have like a fire under your own ass to be a reliever.
Like, where is he on your trust meter right now in that bullpen? Who is he fifth or sixth? Like, I don't trust him really at all.
He's probably sixth. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who would you rather have coming out of the pen? I know he just went on the IL, but like Junior Marte or Sir Anthony?
Probably still Sir Anthony, but like probably
Close.
only guys I would have below Sir Anthony at this point are probably Soto and Junior Marte.
Yeah, I mean, it's Jeff Hoffman bailed us out. Like having Jeff Hoffman because without Jeff Hoffman and this version of Sir Anthony Dominguez last year and this year, it would be a problem. It would be a real problem because he has looked bad.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting to see like the cycle of relievers because relievers, there's a lot of times where it's just they have a short like prime. Because I mean, we even look at like a guy like a Bilotti, how like Bilotti was our guy like for like that 1 year. Then Brogdon was our guy that had the good stuff for a year. Maybe Sir Anthony was that sort of guy, and we've just failed to accept that maybe he can't sustain that success.
I agree, and it comes forward to this bigger question of how do you approach relievers, because we have a big one who's going to be free agent this year, and perhaps the most important person in this bullpen right now, Jeff Hoffman, dude. Like, I know relievers are volatile, but he's going to get a lot of money because he is insane, just insane.
Yeah, no, I think you try to extend Jeff Hoffman during the year.
I mean, we extended Sir Anthony Dominguez because we thought like Sir Anthony was a pretty safe reliever, and we have not seen him since we extended him.
But for like 2 years and like $4 million a year, so
I think Jeff Hoffman can get like north of $20 million over 2 years.
Yeah, I would think he could definitely get like a 2-year type of $24 million deal.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we should give it to him because I believe Sir Anthony's last year will be either this year or next year.
Something like that.
And and like we thought other righties were going to stick around longer. We thought guys like Brogdon were going to be staples of this bullpen. We thought guys like Bilotti were going to be staples for a while. And relievers come and go. And if you have a good one, you got to hold on.
Nick Nelson.
Well, did we ever think Nick Nelson was the answer?
All right,
Are you messing with me? You're messing with me.
That's all I got. That's all the players I wanted to bring up. Do you have anybody that I missed? I don't think anything.
I was going to bring up Sir Anthony. I didn't think you had that one in mind.
Yeah. No, I had it in mind, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, you know what, guys? This is like the one time where we can't really be negative. There's really not that much for us to whine about. I mean, what we're whining about is having a really good battle for our number 5 spot in the rotation, an issue where it's a good issue to have. And other than Turner, I mean, the Turner injury, that's brutal, but like we can get past it.
It's a well-built team, and well-built teams can kind of overcome that stuff. It's why we brought in Whit Merrifield. It's why we have these bench pieces that we believe in at this point. It's going to be all right. And in the schedule, I mean, in the immediate future, it gets harder, but it's not like a gauntlet. I mean, it's with the way the team's playing right now and how good we think this team is. We can handle 6 weeks without Trea Turner. It's just let's keep it to 6 weeks and speedy recovery.
Yep. Hopefully, rotation. I mean, I don't think they're going to put up April numbers in May. That was absolutely insane what our rotation just did. But if they can even be 80% of what they just were, then good things ahead.
Yep. All very true. And I think that should do it for this episode.
I think so.
If you're a Sixers fan, I'm sorry. It's been a rough go. I think that's a good time. It's a good time for you to turn your attention to the Phillies because, vibes are a lot better over here than they are over at Pick Swap, where they're probably a little upset with, this past week, which, I don't blame them. It stinks.
Yeah. It broke my heart too.
Yeah, if you feel like breaking that down, go check them out. And, just stay over here for the good vibes if, you want to talk about the Phils. And, yeah, we'll be back soon to talk to you guys, and hopefully the good vibes continue.
Yeah, hopefully Taiwan delivers a dominant win tonight, and the Phils dismantle the Giants for a nice 3-game sweep.
Yep, keep the wins coming.
Yes, please. I like winning baseball.
Agreed.
All right.
All right, that should do it. Thanks, guys.